The production of free radicals, which are free ions, increases what they call free radicals. These free radicals can act on the cells and stimulate a process known as cell apoptosis, or the salad. My stomach hurts. Tarani, listen carefully. Network, please respond. No need to worry. All right, Dr. Islam. Yes, I'm with you, doctor. This is the mechanism of the mechanical index, which acts as an indicator telling you where you are. It indicates your value or your relationship with the bottom, which is related to high expansion, the square root of the frequency. If the mechanical index increases, it means that the refraction pressure related to strong expansion will lead to a high explosion of micro air bubbles. So it tells you that you have a threshold of 3. Do not exceed it, which is less than 0.7. This is your threshold that you should not exceed to avoid the occurrence of cavitation or the explosion of micro air bubbles. Okay, so in neonatology, they said 0.5 for general ultrasound, 0.7. Is that understood? Okay, understood. Regarding tissue harmonic imaging, we were discussing that tissue or the tissues, when exposed to ultrasound, emit ultrasound themselves. These tissues produce pulses, and these pulses have a frequency different from the standard frequency or the fundamental frequency. For example, if you have 2 megahertz, that is your fundamental frequency. The same mechanism that I was talking about occurs in it. In the end, it thoroughly discusses the intricate topic of motion mechanics without directly addressing motion mechanics itself. It elaborates on how general ultrasound produces a significantly different frequency. We extensively discussed the topic of the different frequency and mentioned that there is a notable divergence, or a specific shape of the beam, which we technically refer to as nonlinear imaging or nonlinear pulses. This phenomenon results from the complex interaction, causing a substantial change in the pulse, which we specifically refer to as nonlinear pulses. This particular part is intricately related to the peak of the pressure itself. So what essentially happens is that it causes a noticeable change in the frequency of the ultrasound pulse. The tissue itself sends a frequency or pulse at a distinctly different frequency than the fundamental frequency you initially sent. You originally sent a fundamental frequency of 2 megahertz with a certain intensity, and as it travels towards the tissue, the signal gradually weakens as it returns after reflection. The signal weakens gradually over time, while the pulses you produced will travel a considerable distance from the tissue to the transducer, encountering various obstacles along the way. And the signal will eventually come back to you with a slightly different frequency and a much higher intensity. It enhances the brightness and increases the contrast resolution of the image. This is the idea behind tissue harmonic imaging.
Is there possibly a question here? Or there may be 2 questions. Is there perhaps a lot of questions?
Yes, harmonics. Yes, harmonics. We said that the harmonic creates a hormone.
Filtering or something like that, to implement such a filtering program is a nice question. The idea is that I have something called a filter or filters, and what this filter does is that you tell your transducer, for example, I have the transducer here, and I say to it, you are receiving frequencies. These frequencies should undergo filtering. What does filtering mean? It means to take only the frequencies in the range of 2 megahertz and remove the other frequencies. So it removes the fundamental and only takes what comes from the selection I made. Now, what is the advantage? The advantage is that it removes any artifact signal, meaning all the signals that might come as a result of artifacts. So why did this artifact occur? It happened due to the interaction between the ultrasound pulses, which are already the primary ones, and the tissues. So when you removed that frequency or filtered it from the frequency you rely on in imaging, you have effectively removed that signal along with its artifacts. Right, Dr. Ada? Yes, that's correct. There is also another method called pulse inversion. This pulse inversion is another method, but I might talk about it next time because it requires images. In our next meeting, we can take a moment to discuss this matter in more detail. It won't take long, and we can quickly go over the main points to ensure everyone is on the same page. This way, we can address any concerns or questions efficiently and move forward with a clear understanding. So, what will be left for us is the MRI, which will have some difficulties. May God improve the situation? I want to ask you, sorry for the question about the MRI. I read about its physics, and what are the difficulties? It's hard, right? Honestly, K-space is a significant and strong problem. For example, the most challenging aspects are the sequences. Physics encoding radiance, frequency encoding radiance, and these things. It's hard to understand K-space, image reconstruction, and the filling of K-space itself, which is related to frequency encoding radiance and physics encoding radiance. All right, everything is fine, God willing. We feel that we will try, God willing, to simplify as much as possible. Everything is going well, God willing. Thank you.
Master the situation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, doctor. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon you.